Good morning, Hapeville friends and neighbors. Dewey here. Thanks for joining me on the Hapeville channel. It's 9:30 in the morning here in Hapeville, and I think it's the coolest morning so far. It's 50 degrees. Got my sweater and my hat on. It's beautiful out. And what I'm doing is taking my morning walk, excuse me, and sneezing. And I think I figured I would try something different this morning. I'm gonna flip around real quick. I love this house. This is on my street, Walnut Street. Has still some land next to it. I've always told Douglas when we walk by this house, I'm like, oh my God, I would love to own that house someday. But anyway, what I thought I would do this morning is I'm taking my walk, and I'm going to walk over to Old Jonesboro Road because I did a post a few weeks back about one of the original 10 houses that were built in the Moreland Park subdivision in 1938. They built 10 original houses, and then they sold them, marketed them to get people to move down to Hapeville. I thought they were going to be renovating one of the cute little houses when I saw it a few weeks ago. But then they kept going, and it looks like they were tearing it down. I haven't been back over there in a couple weeks, so I'm going to take a walk over there and check that out. But as I do that, I thought that I would stop talking, and because there's so many of you that don't live here anymore that have memories here, and I would imagine that you might get some enjoyment just out of seeing the streets and where I'm walking now. And what I would love for you to do while you watch this is, if you see a house or a location or a landmark or anything at all that sparks a memory, share it in the comments and just tell me that memory, no matter how small it is. You waited for the bus there, or you had a fight with a neighborhood kid, or anything like that. So I'm just gonna flip the camera around, and we're mainly gonna be walking down Old Jonesboro Road at this point, but I'll stop. I'm at the end of Walnut Street, and I'm just gonna let you guys watch. And if you're from out of town, or in town, and you've lived here your whole life, just have a look, and if any memories are sparked, let me know. I always love to hear that. So I live up on Walnut Street, and I just walked down. This is Wheeler right there, so I'm walking east, and this end of the street has a lot of new infill. Like from the end of the street on the north side of Walnut all the way to here, these are all new houses. There are only 2 original ones left. 3, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and then the third one was renovated. These are all new from the 3 years that I've been here. And this is the other side of Walnut Street. I always liked that house. So now I'm just gonna walk to Old Jonesboro to go look for that house and see that if it has been knocked down. But I'll stop talking. I'm gonna enjoy the walk, and you enjoy Hapeville early in the morning. Let me know if you see anything familiar. Good morning, Heather. Good morning, Dee. I always appreciate your engagement on the page. Thank you. It's a beautiful morning this morning, y'all. We're going north on Old Jonesboro Road, headed towards Lake Drive. This is another new home that was built about within the last year, I would say. In the back of the houses on Walnut Street. It's not like in the olden days where you had big yards. This is something that I said I wasn't going to talk. I lied. This is something I like. The new mailbox. Although I think it's weird that the mailboxes end up right in the middle of the sidewalk. It seems like they should be there or way out at the edge. I don't know, but they tend to put things right in the middle of the sidewalk here in Hapeville a lot. So again, it's a beautiful morning in Hapeville. If you see anything that strikes a memory you want to share, please do. I'm going to go down here because it looks like they are tearing down. There's a little park here, and it's getting new equipment. So I'll make a loop. They're going to take down all the plastic equipment, and they're putting up new equipment in all the parks. So I'll just come down here. I love these houses off the park. That green one in particular is really pretty. Oh, that's nice. Looks like they might be doing a little landscaping here too. Oh, look at that. Yep. That's cool. That's really great. Good morning. Good. I didn't know there was going to be new landscaping and everything too. That's cool. Is that going away and there's going to be brand new stuff? Oh, okay. Keep it all. This is great. Yeah. Awesome. You guys enjoy your day. Looks great. Look at that. Oh, look at new. So he was saying they're probably going to keep the old stuff and add to it. That's nice. The swings are new too. Look at that. Those are new. The swings were there, but these, I think those are new, or maybe they were painted. I think they painted the old one. Anyway, wow, it's good to see that. Very nice. Oh, my mother-in-law is here. Good morning, Mom. Just taking a walk around Hapeville, sharing this pretty morning with all the folks who follow on the Hapeville channel. So I did a little loop to go check out the park. I always wondered, for those of you who grew up here, I always thought it was interesting that this tiny little apartment building is just in the middle of this residential area. It makes me wonder if y'all remember, were there ever houses here in front of this park? It's like a little triangle at Lake Drive and Old Jonesboro Road. I've always thought that spot was interesting, but obviously those apartments look like maybe they were built in the 50s. I'm taking a walk to see if this house that I like up the street has been demolished yet. This is another big one at 3254. That's a pretty house. I've just always seen houses like that and go, how the hell do you maintain a house that big? And I think 3 people live in there. This one was for sale for a while. The first 3 years I was here, it was up for sale, and somebody finally got it. We're walking north on Old Jonesboro Road. I'm crossing Woodrow Avenue now. Look at this little one. I've never seen a human being at this house. It's always really quiet. Anybody know anybody that ever lived there? It's beautiful. There's 3240 Old Jonesboro. Here we go by, I don't know his last name, but I met him one day. His name is Steve. And I've showed this house before at 3234. He cut down a tree, left the stump, and made it a piece of art. The little house. Isn't that great? So clever. (3237) Old Jonesboro Road. Now we're crossing Oak Drive. There's a couple lots up there on the left that had never been built upon in the entire town's history. And now you see this little gray house. It had an empty lot on either side. Oh, wow. They went up quick. You can see there's a big house next to it and a big house next to it. A couple months ago, they didn't exist. People trying to make that coin. These developers have swooped into Hapeville. We're walking north, coming near Jackson Street. And we're going to pass 3190 on the right again, which is, I showcased it a couple weeks ago on a walk. Back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, it was called Bevel's Bait Farm. There was a bait farm here. They have a little pond back there. Well, it's not there anymore, but if locals were going to go fishing for the weekend, they would stop here at the Bevel family's residence, which back then they could also run a business here. And they have a pond that they had created down in there, and that's where all the bait fish would be. When I talked about it a couple weeks ago, a grandson of the Bevels, he said he grew up there. If I wanted to know more about it, I could reach out to him, and I intend to do it. So we're going past Jackson and Old Jonesboro. It's a trash truck up there. It's trash day somewhere in town. I think every day of the week. My day is Wednesday. One of the things I love about Hapeville is that all of the houses are different. They're all so unique. Each piece of property is unique. Even though you can see the models are similar. This one, oh, it's for sale, and that one. They were all built at the same time, and in general, they're the same size and same style, but each one is very different, and a lot of that has to do with just they've been changed over the years. This is 3161 Old Jonesboro Road. That's an adorable house. This is Birch Street and Old Jonesboro. I was looking at a map from 1939 the other day that I found, and it shows that Birch Street, unless it was a mistake on the map, I don't know how it could be. They hired people to make that map. It was called Burke, B-U-R-K-E, Burke Street. I'm like, that's interesting. That's either somebody was like, hey, we're making your map. What's the name of that again? And they're like, Birch Street. And they misunderstood it and put Burke. But, good morning. Look at the beautiful big backyard they have. Oh my God. I never noticed this before, but holy monkey on a cracker. Look back here. Look at that little house they built. It's hard because of the sun, but that is a tree stump. That's a huge tree stump. Look at that. I don't remember that little house being back there. That must be recent. And you can see all the debris behind. So that tree must have come down recently and they decided to do that. That's beautiful. It is. That house was cute, wasn't it? So now we're on to Old Jonesboro Road, where you can count starting at Birch Street. Not this house. Starting with this house. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 going north, all 6 of these houses were the original model homes built in 1938 to advertise and sell further homes in this area. And they called it Moreland Park. And the one behind this tree, I thought they were renovating it. Then it looked like they were tearing it down. Now, oh yeah, they're tearing it down. Oh boy. No question about it. The little house didn't survive. Oh, well, it made it from 1938 to, there's its cousin. They looked very similar. That one may not make it either now when you think about it. It's adorable. I was hoping that one would get renovated and I got really excited, but no, it's getting torn down. That was one of the original houses. So what is that? 1938 to 2021, 85, roughly 85 years. 3143. It actually says 3143-5. They added the -5, so maybe they put in an apartment in it at one point. And this was one of the originals. Across the street, this one, that one, and the next one. They were all original homes. I forget the couple's name, but there was a couple back in the 20s and 30s that owned like 80 some acres. They owned all of this in this area, 80 some acres, and they sold it to a developer. Can you imagine back in the 1930s how much that must have been so exciting for that family to make all that money. The trees are starting to, well, anyway. Oh, today is election day too, by the way. One of the election things just in the yard just made me realize that. Douglas and I are going to go to the rec center and vote for our council people today. But that's it. I don't know. I just thought I'd take you on my walk with me. This might have been boring as hell. But I suppose if you're somebody who's lived in this area, you might have enjoyed the walk. I just think about, there's a little town in upstate New York, just outside of Ithaca, New York, called Ludlowville. And when I was a little boy, those were where my first memories were formed, in Ludlowville. And I know that if someone were to do this in Ludlowville, I'd be watching with rapt attention because I have memories there and it would be of interest to me. So hoping that that's the case here for some of you. 3151, so cute. And I love, like, especially this one, 3138. It looks so small, but if you swing around the side and look in the back, it's a hill. And so there's lots of house behind and underneath that house. And they've got a big back lot too. See, it's a lot bigger from the back. This house you can hardly see. It's just so much trees around it. It's right on the corner of Birch. It's so weird to me that used to be called Burke. It just makes you wonder, how did it get changed from Burke to Birch? And the thing is, Birch makes sense because the streets before it, most of them are named after trees. So if it was ever called Burke, I would wonder why. I don't know. It's very strange. And it's just a tiny little strip of road. And my son is here. Good morning, son. I love you. I'm taking a walk this morning because that's what old men do. Taking a walk and just sharing the streets with my followers on the Hapeville channel. See if they want to share any memories with me. Going past 3161 again, that sold. I'm going to tell my husband and he'll look it up and he'll know exactly what it looks like inside. He'll know how much it's selling for. He follows all of that. It's adorable. Although I'm not sure I'd want... Right now it's quiet, but Old Jonesboro can get busy. It's the second busiest road that goes through Hapeville, but busy is a relative term. I used to live in Manhattan, and you would never see this. So to call this road busy is a little ridiculous. But by Hapeville standards. Here's Jackson Street, which back in 1939, this stretch of Jackson Street was not called Jackson Street. It was called Baker Place. And then you would go up, and where it turns left onto the part of Jackson that goes north and south, it turned into, it was Baker Street and turned into Jackson. Let's walk up Old Baker Street, which is Jackson Street. I love you too, kiddo. I hope you have a good day today. I hope you had fun last night. I'll Marco Polo you after this to find out if you guys did actually go up to Clearwater. I understand what you're saying about the frustrations of parking and having to pay for parking. Atlanta is like that. That's a big reason Douglas and I rarely go up to Atlanta, because it's so expensive to put your car anywhere. My son is very laid back, salt of the earth kind of guy. And I always, when I walk around Hapeville and how quiet and quaint it is, I think he'd like it here, I think. There's a part of my son that I admire so much, and that is his ability to be in the moment and to enjoy peace and quiet. When I was his age, I wasn't yet able to do that. It took me a lot longer to figure that out. He appreciates the things that make sense earlier than I ever did. That house is not for sale, and there's nobody there, but I wouldn't mind fixing that one up either, because it's very quiet on this street. 3088 Jackson. And then we get into a stretch of infill homes, which are pretty. They're very pretty. And it's nice to have a few on a street, but I just hope that, we don't keep going in the direction where we lose all of our cute little houses that are beautiful artist palettes for people with imagination. These are lovely, and it's not like if somebody said, "Hey, you want one of these?" I'd say no. But I'd say, "Can I have one of those instead?" This one's great, 3101. I love this one because it's still next door to a house that has all of its land. And so you look at this and it just takes you back to the 50s and 60s. Look at that, the little garage in the back, the little carport there. I mean, it's idyllic. And I love it. This one too. No, we ended up staying home, but I took the time to put together a light box and said, "Good, you had said you were going to do that." I hope it worked out. I'll be curious to see how that worked out for you. My mom-in-law is here, Jean. She said, "Enjoyed your walk, but I have to say goodbye." Goodbye. Charge, and thank you for coming with me. I know it's weird just to take a walk, but anyway, my friend Anna Lee lives in that house. I pet care for her dogs. I don't know who owns these two houses, but they're adorable. I'll show them to you from the front. They are on Grove Circle in Jackson. These little brick houses back here are just so quaint and cute. This one was for rent. It got purchased recently. Somebody purchased this and the land with the house there. They rent that one. Douglas and I were excited. We were like, "Ooh, that's beautiful." But the rent was $1,700 a month. We're like, "Oh, okay. Nope, we'll stay where we're at. We'll stay where we're at." But it sure is cute. There's another cute one. These have been spruced up. They're beautiful. And then there's an old original house. That's probably 1920, which is the same year that my house was built. So this is this curve right here, at least in 39, this curve, this was Jackson, and then this turned into Baker Place. But it makes sense. Eventually they were like, the whole thing just needs to be Jackson. But it's a nice little quiet curve back here. This is the back side of people's properties, and their front faces the busiest street that goes through Hapeville. There's a whole story about it. It used to be called Stewart Avenue. Now it's called Dogwood. But The people that just bought this house, from what I understand, they bought this property and they just took out all this fencing here, which is great to open this up. And they're going to renovate that place into living quarters and then live in it while they renovate that house. This is all from my friend Kate, who lives next door. But I like this little stretch back here because it's quiet. Like, this guy gets no traffic, really. And then this is the back gate. Now there's my friend Pete's car. Pete and Kate live here. And they have such a beautiful home. They have a pool and a jacuzzi, and sometimes they let Douglas and I come over and hang out in it. It's a cute little house. Some friends of ours live there. I have forgotten their names. I say friends of ours. We've seen them at the local brewery a few times. Taylor, I think his name is. I want to say Taylor and Rachel, but I'm not sure. There was a huge tree here until a couple months ago. It fell over. Didn't knock the lines down, but ripped them and fell right into the church lot. Good morning. I don't even know if you like to be called Robert Myron Ridley or Rob or Bob, because we've never spoken about it, but good morning. I'm just taking a walk and sharing it with folks, saying to folks, if you see a house or a place or anything that jogs any kind of memories, let me know what they are. What do you remember? Nothing is too small. Nothing is too insignificant. I love hearing it all. This is 3148 Jackson. And here is the back of the church. I always forget which church this was, and I can't see the sign. I want to say I'm not sure if it was an Episcopal church or not, and I'm too lazy to walk up there, but they're getting ready to build condos over there, townhomes across the way. But like most churches around here right now, the attendance is like nothing, and it's always so quiet. And Douglas and I always look at, oh, thanks, Bob. Okay, Bob. Good morning. We look at this all the time and we think, gosh, we wish we could turn that into a theater and art studios for people. If we were gazillionaires, we would certainly try. But I love this little house back here. I think it also belongs to the church. I could be wrong, but I imagine church people staying here. It's been divided a long time ago, I'm sure, into addresses A and B, but it's a cute little house. And so is this one, which I've never seen a human being come in or out of it. I showcased this house a while back here at Jackson and Woodrow. It's being renovated, and somebody whose family used to live there, their parents actually owned that one and that one. They reached out and told me some details about it, which is great. Looks like that might get a new life. And what's interesting is it's becoming more and more uncommon here in Hapeville, but here's a lot that, from all the research I can find, has never yet been developed. But oh, it will. With the craziness that's going on in town now, it will. And I say that because there's like no driveway, what do you call it? My friend Carol told me they're called aprons, where a car can get up. There's no apron. That doesn't mean there was never a house here. There may have been, but I don't see any signs. Oh, maybe I'm wrong, because look. If that's there, that means there must have been a house here at some point, doesn't it? So who knows? From what I understand, I forget where and how I learned it, but on Jackson Street, this is 3170, and I believe Ed Milton used to live here. And Ed Milton was my predecessor in that he kept the history alive here in Hapeville. He ran the Hapeville Depot Museum. He and a bunch of other people with him created the Hapeville History book back in 1990, 91. And I found somewhere that that's where he lived. So I like to imagine him pulling out of that driveway and taking a trip over the depot for the day. Good morning, Sherry. Thanks for being here. Good morning, Carol. Thank you, Carol. Stewart Avenue Baptist Church. I always forget there was more than one Baptist church in town. Stewart Avenue Baptist Church. Okay, now we're at the corner of Jackson and lake. And if you look west right there, that's Stewart Avenue / Dogwood. And look what's going up here. Boom. I mean, y'all, that was a tiny little sliver of a lot. And when they started clearing it, I said to Douglas while it was sitting there, I was like, somebody's going to snatch that up. And we're both like, no way, nothing will fit there. It's incredible how they're able to squeeze these huge houses onto these tiny lots. But it's ideal for someone who doesn't want a yard to take care of, because there's no yard. It's a lovely house. It's big. It's big. And we're walking down Lake right now. So for those of you who were here, 60, 70 years ago, I don't know, as kids, that was Henry Hardin's grocery store right there. But I don't dislike the house. I think it's lovely, but it seems like it should be sitting out on farmland, not next to all these tiny little houses on this street. So this one I don't think is going to make it. A while ago, look, a tree fell on it from its backyard. And I don't know, y'all. I'm no architect. I'm no contractor, but it looks like that house may not make it. It looks like not. And it looks like somebody wanted to go in the front door pretty badly, but this is not pretty. And from what I understand, Hapeville back in the 80s and maybe the early 90s had a lot of this blight going on, but it's certainly changing now. I used to live to your right on Lake Drive across from the little park. Oh, I was just down there this morning. I filmed those houses. If you watch, did I? When you say across from the little park, are you talking about the park at Dorsey? So I was down there this morning. Anyway, here's a bunch of little houses. This street, at this end anyway, there's not a lot of infill happening yet like this, and there's not a lot of improvements happening on these houses. This one was improved lately, but we realized it's an Airbnb. Nobody lives there. Oh, you're welcome, Bob. I'm glad that you do like it. My voice chat is screaming, this is stupid. Nobody's going to want to watch this. But I always go, you know what? I like doing it. And someone will enjoy it on some level. So, this house right here, I don't know what happened to him, but I found an article from 1930, I think 38, could have been 37, but they lost their little girl. She was only 3. It doesn't say why. It's an obituary that I found, but that was 80 some years ago. And I think of that every time I walk by that house, because I'm morbid like that. My son said, honestly, if this was a Netflix show, I would binge the hell out of it. Are you kidding me? I always wonder if people, I don't know. I'm odd in this way. This isn't my town. I wasn't born here. I don't have memories here beyond the 4 years that I've been here. But for some reason, this town really speaks to me, and I can feel the energy here. It's not all good. It's not all bad, but that's the world. That's life. But it speaks to me, and I know that sounds weird, but as soon as I got here, within months, I was like, this is a special place. Sherry says, okay, I will rewatch and see. I don't drive anymore because I have vertigo. So between you and my Google Street Map drives, I can still see my own town. Yes, you can. Well, I hope following